what Destiny 2 needs for the final shape. Today, we talk about how Bungie delivered in the past some of the most breathtaking and cherished Destiny experiences, and how learning from their big success is what Bungie needs to deliver for a memorable, climactic ending of the Light and Dark saga set 10 years ago. With 650 dedicated individuals working towards the creation of the final shape in Destiny 2, Bungie has labeled 3 key expansions they hold standards for that they want to live up to, which include the Taken King, the Witch Queen, and Forsaken. Bungie not only wants to exceed expectations for the final shape with the philosophy of these 3 expansion standards, but to break it, by making the final shape the unforgettable, climactic ending we all deserve for 10 years of Destiny. If Bungie wants to succeed, the final shape needs to pull multiple different eggs from each basket of the past 3 expansions that drove Destiny 2 in the right direction for players. Oh hey look, an Ahamkar egg. Let's start with the first and probably one of the best DLCs for Destiny, the Taken King. Released on September 15th, 2015, the Taken King was the biggest DLC of the year for Destiny. After defeating Crota in the Dark Below, Oryx would arrive in his Dreadnought, being the main antagonist that would drive this DLC to its fame and glory. The Taken King introduced a lot to Destiny during this time. A new enemy faction known as the Taken, 3 new subclasses to wield, a lot of new weapons and armor to chase, a new destination filled with mysteries and secrets, new strikes and PvP maps, a trove of new exotics to grab, a massive raid, and the introduction to what Destiny players and the community would love forever: secret missions. The Taken King delivered what Destiny needed the most during that time. And if you ask a lot of older Destiny players, the Taken King will always be near the top for the best moments of their Destiny experiences. So what can Bungie pull from the Taken King that can make Final Shape live up to it? Firstly, the Final Shape's destination being set within the Traveler needs to have the infiltration and mystery of Oryx's Dreadnought. From seeing the Cabal crash ship with enemy factions fighting against each other, to the multiple different Hive runes, collectibles, and hidden platforms across the entire destination is what gave it life and more. Secondly, the Taken King introduced the first ever batch of secret missions, with the first and most memorable being for the Black Spindle exotic sniper rifle, set within Taniks's ship. Something that was wrapped in mystery but discovered by all, gave the world of Destiny more space and wonder than we could possibly imagine. How much more was out there? How much is still unknown? This is what the final shape needs for Destiny's mystery and wonder to be reborn. And lastly, what the final shape can pull from the Taken King is the main antagonist strategy. Oryx was a great, phenomenal main villain for the story of Destiny, and with the Witness being the endgame antagonist from the start known as the Darkness all these years, the Witness needs to be the unknown Veil enemy race everyone speculated to be a Darkness enemy faction to fight in future, shrouded in mystery with limitless power and potential. There are a lot of things that the Taken King did right, which leads straight into its sequel, The Witch Queen. Released on February 22nd of 2022, The Witch Queen would take heavy inspiration and nods to the Taken King in its size and story, with Savathûn being the main antagonist of this story. Just like the Taken King, The Witch Queen would bring more to Destiny this time around. A new destination set within Savathûn's throne world, a legendary story-driven campaign, new challenging enemies in the form of Lucent Hive, 3.0 subclasses spread across multiple different seasons, new weapons and armor, more exotics, new strikes and PvP maps, a new raid, and the long-awaited feature of weapon crafting to Destiny. The Witch Queen did a lot of things right, which the first thing the final shape needs to take is a compelling, mysterious story shrouded in layers to uncover. We have the antagonist being the Witness, an ancient enemy who was only revealed recently in the Witch Queen's final cutscene. With the Witness being a part of the campaign story and the final boss for the final shape raid, this story needs multiple different twists and turns that will make the Witness a malevolent force. Secondly, the final shape needs to pull and innovate with challenging enemies to face. The final shape will be introducing the Subjugators, darkness-wielding combatants. Basically mini rogues with stasis and strand powers. The Lucent Hive introduced in Witch Queen did a good job of challenging players, however, it could be done better. Tormentors released in LightFall, for example, were aggressive and charged players with full force, making them a powerful threat, just like the Lucent Hive. Having mechanics that push players against the wall is something we need more of in challenging enemies to face within Destiny. And lastly, the final shape needs to pull from the Witch Queen's raid, with challenge, aesthetic, and loot combined into one beautiful work of art. Vow of the Disciple is the raid which launched with the Witch Queen that has us go deep into a sunken pyramid ship within Savathûn's throne world to face an unknown ancient entity at its heart. This would be our first raid experience within a Darkness pyramid ship and an enemy we have never seen before. From the challenge of multiple different mechanics within the raid, a new environment that felt mysterious, dangerous, and unknown, to the loot that was desirable and powerful. This raid is definitely a high one on the list for making all things Destiny players want to experience within a raid they want to play. With the final shape being placed within the pale heart of the Traveler, this raid needs to pull all strings of uncomfortability, eerie spaces, beautiful architecture, a space shrouded in mystery, and an atmosphere that will conclude the end of a 10-year-long journey. The Witness needs to be an unforgettable showdown, alongside its strange but superb atmosphere. Raids are everything in Destiny. The final shape is no exception. Overall, the final shape can pull a lot of different resources from both the Taken King and the Witch Queen, with even more I haven't even mentioned. However, it still won't be enough. If the final shape wants to succeed, it will have to pull a lot of its inspiration from one expansion that was dedicated to the hardcore fans of Destiny. Forsaken. Released on September 4th, 2018, Forsaken was the expansion that outright saved Destiny 2 and steered the ship in the right direction. Forsaken is and should be the pinnacle of Destiny content that should be strived for, with a memorable story of avenging Cayde 6, exploring 2 brand new destinations, with one of them being a dedicated endgame location being the Dreaming City, a whole lot of new weapons and armor, bringing back weapon random rolls and special weapons to the second slot, a whole new trove of exotics, new subclasses, a new enemy faction, the introduction of Gambit being a new ritual playlist activity, new strikes and PvP maps, the first ever dungeon to Destiny, a massive raid, and the list just continues. We can all agree that Forsaken was the best time in Destiny 2 by far, with all of its additions and memorable moments made within the expansion, alongside its 3 main seasons that came along with it. So what can the final shape pull from Forsaken that can truly make it the expansion that rivals with it? The short answer? Literally just make Forsaken 2. But in all seriousness, there's a lot of places that the final shape can pull from Forsaken, which is why we need to start with the endgame destination of the Dreaming City. The Dreaming City is an unknown awoken paradise with an ambience that puts you front and center of a fantasy world you've never been to, filled with breathtaking architecture and wonder. The Dreaming City was the first ever endgame destination for Destiny players to sink their time into, filled with a lot to discover, secrets to uncover, and an ever-evolving world with even more stones to turn. After the world's first completion of the Last Wish raid from Clan Redeem, the Dreaming City would be set in a 3-week curse cycle and revealing more to the open world of the Dreaming City and beyond it. This released new content like the Corrupted Strike, Ascendant challenges to complete, mysterious wishes to decode, and the discovery of the first ever dungeon to Destiny, the Shattered Throne. A 3-player activity that's between being a strike and a raid experience. The Dreaming City and all of its secrets was perfect. With the final shape's destination taking place within the Traveler known as the Pale Heart, unlike the Dreaming City, the Pale Heart will be the first ever linear destination seen within Destiny. Knowing full well we are going straight into the Traveler, this place needs to be as wondrous as the Dreaming City was, with all its twists and turns alike. Having puzzles and activities not drip-fed to the community, but discovered and opened once something is completed, like the Last Wish raid did. Having a continually evolving world and cycle of content within certain weeks gives variety and life to destinations. Europa did a great job in Beyond Light with its dynamic weather system when it released that gave the place more depth and meaning to it. If Bungie wants this linear destination to succeed, both endgame and casual experiences must culminate together to reveal what the Traveler has inside, for being dormant and in stasis for 10 years. An evolving world, secrets and puzzles to uncover, challenging world bosses and enemies, and an ambience like no other. Moving on to the final shape's raid and what it can pull from Forsakens, this raid doesn't need to just perform, but to enlighten and strike us with the ultimate endgame battle we are craving to have. And the Last Wish raid experience was no exception. Last Wish, set within the endgame destination of the Dreaming City, was made for the hardcore Destiny raiders. Filled with the most bosses any raid has ever seen before, difficult encounters to overcome, and at the center of the Dreaming City as you slay a mighty mystical Ahamkara dragon. Straight from a story that would be in a fairy tale, Last Wish is a prime example of the heroic knight charging the gates to slay the dragon guarding the treasure, and Last Wish delivered on that promise, which leads into meaningful loot to grind for. The final shape and the Pale Heart destination is the supposed last raid and location that we will ever get to experience. And for that, the loot needs to be superb. After defeating the Witness, the main threat and reason we have been fighting all this time should be rewarded with the highest of treasures. Last Wish did a great job of giving the players 50 chests to open at the end of the raid with only one key. Being both a part of lore and replayability, this was a ingenious way of getting players to run the raid and hoard keys to open all of them up. Overall, the Final Shapes raid and destination altogether needs this level of status and challenge that Forsaken brought to the Dreaming City. Why was it so memorable? It was just that damn good. It's a lot to ask for, and quite frankly, the Final Shape could be something completely different than what we are all expecting. You can call this major hopium. Even after its first title reveal and first in-game look, the Final Shape is definitely not what I was expecting for the end, if I'm looking at myself from the perspective of Destiny in 2014. The same could be said about a lot of other expansions as well, but everything over the past 10 years, whether good or bad, leads to this moment. Overall, I think we all want to see Bungie succeed with the Final Shape and deliver us the conclusion we all deserve for 10 years of Destiny. In the past, these 3 pinnacle expansions for Destiny is what the game needed: the Taken King, the Witch Queen, and Forsaken, which is why Destiny 2 needs this for Final Shape.